welcome you to downtown Oklahoma City and Thunder playoff postgame. Game 5 of the NBA Finals between Indiana and Oklahoma City in the books. Your final score, 120-109. The Thunder now leads this series 3-2. What an electric atmosphere we had here inside of Paycom Center for Game 5 between these two teams. Alongside Royce Young, I am Paris Lawson as we welcome you back courtside here inside of Paycom Center. And when Coach Daigneault says that every game in this series has a life of its own, this is exactly what he was referring to. No two games resemble each other. And up until this point, Royce, these two teams have literally just been exchanging wins, and the Thunder now with back-to-back victories.
I will say, Paris, for a second, I'm sure everybody did think that this game was resembling Game 1.
It had a little bit of a Game 1 feel for the first three quarters.
As we've seen from this Thunder team, they learn from their experiences, they make adjustments, they improve throughout series. Yeah. And the reason this game didn't resemble Game 1 is because of the way the Thunder were able to close this game and take what, at one point Indiana cut it to 2. I thought for a second TJ McConnell was about to take Klay Thompson's Game 6 in Oklahoma City and put it to shame. But it was an incredible response by the Thunder. I think it was 4 straight steals by the Thunder to really kind of slam the door. Dort hitting a huge dagger 3. And I mean, just how about the two All-Stars? Dub with 40, SGA with 31. Unbelievable performance, unbelievable fortitude and focus from this team as they had to feel the anxiety of what the Pacers were pushing against them. The incredible theme of this postseason being the comebacks from the Pacers, and the Thunder, with that heat turned up on them in the fourth quarter in this Game 5, were able to stave it off, and they leaned into their defensive identity to get it done.
The Indiana Pacers cut the Thunder's lead. That was as many as 18 points in this game, cut it down to just 2 points midway through that fourth quarter, and everybody in this building started to hold their breath a little bit. But right after that, the Thunder responded with a massive run of their own, getting that lead back up to double figures, and it was their defense that really clocked in at that point. Like you mentioned, the consecutive turnovers, the Thunder just unrelenting on that end of the floor, allowing them to build up a little bit of breathing room heading into the final stretch of that game.
These games I feel like I black out during them, so I'm trying to remember everything that happened. But I think Shai had 2 straight steals and finished an and one on one of them. Then Caruso came out of the timeout.
That's right.
Incredible read by him to I mean, those two noises that this arena made, loudest it's ever been in this building ever in the 17 years.
Wow.
And then Dort coming up with another steal on top of it. I mean, those, again, that's what this team is all about. That's what they have a knack for doing it. They just dig in at those big moments and they come up with plays. And that's, again, Game 4 and what we saw from this team in that game, having to just grind it out, just ground and pound, finding a way to get it done. This was a reborn team in this game in a lot of ways, Paris. They had 10 assists in the first quarter.
Sure did.
10 assists all of Game 4. They hit 3 threes in Game 4. They hit 4 in the first quarter.
That's right.
Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace hitting a bunch of them. This team looked like the deep, tenacious, ferocious team that they've been all season.
Much more Thunder-like performance in that first quarter, and really through the entirety of this game. And Royce, we heard from all of these Thunder players coming into this game. This series, they literally said, it's 0-0 now. We're approaching this game like it is a Game 1. And this team, you could tell, there was kind of a reset to them. It felt like they were coming out with some renewed energy. I'm sure it helped being in front of this home crowd. The Game 5 energy inside of this building, absolutely electric. I'm sure if you were watching the game back at home and more, you could still hear how loud it was in this arena.
Absolutely. And, I think we all need to soak up this game because this was, up to date, the biggest game in Thunder history. The next one's about to be potentially the biggest game in Thunder history. But, that is the challenge I think that this team has going on the road in Indiana to try to close this out, is to try to bring that same sort of pace and intensity and tempo early in the game against Indiana because, like you said, Paris, this team looked like themselves, and I think a lot of it is the comfort of the home arena, the role players stepping up and feeling so comfortable at home, but just the energy and the intensity that they played with early in this game. That's how they play all season long. And to be able to translate on the road, I think there was times in the 2 games in Indianapolis where the Thunder were slow, they were kind of grinding it out. They found a way to win Game 4, but if they can take this sort of pace and tempo and tenaciousness on the road with them, this might be the last game we see in this building this season.
It is a possibility. The Thunder now earned the opportunity to just get one more win to get that ultimate goal. But Royce, you said something that I really want to hone in on, because the Thunder played a lot to their identity in this game here tonight. And one number and one stat that we haven't seen a ton of from Oklahoma City in this series, the turnovers. And that's the turnovers forced by Oklahoma City. Indiana turning the ball over left and right in this game. 20 turnovers, I believe, by the Pacers.
Yep.
And that's a Pacers team that's really good at taking care of the ball. And the Thunder, not just forcing turnovers, Royce, but it felt like also making Indiana play deep into that shot clock.
Yeah, great call, Paris, because there were so many possessions where Indiana just did not feel like they could get it going at all. I mean, they were resetting their possessions, and what they do so well is obviously move the ball all over the court and create advantages themselves. But, you know, again, to change the script from game one,
Yep.
the Thunder turned them over a lot in game one, did not
point.
capitalize on that in the way that they did tonight. Points off turnovers, the Thunder were very successful
Yeah.
on taking advantage of the turnovers that they forced on Indiana tonight.
Well, one guy who had a big impact on the Thunder forcing all those Indiana
Oh,
turnovers, how about Lou Dort, the all-defensive ace for Oklahoma City? Our very own Nick Gallo caught up with him postgame. Let's listen in.
Lou, the game pressure, they pull it to 2 points. What went on inside of your team to make that big run afterwards and break away?
Yeah, it's a 48-minute game. We knew they was going to make a run. I mean, they've been doing it a lot, so we had to stay together, find the right shots. That's what we did.
Every night you set the defensive tone. What was special about this one, particularly the way you guys finished it?
It's me. It's the whole team. It's the whole team. It's just the trust. And we communicate so much on the floor, and we do it together.
How about that guy, Dub, a third-year player, to go for 40 in this situation? What have you seen from him that has led him to this point?
He's getting better and better and every time. I mean, he's an all-star for a reason. We trust him to make some big shots, which he did tonight.
The togetherness of this team, the production you got up and down, how does this feel to have it truly be a team victory here in this building?
It feels great. It feels great. I mean, we had to take care of home. We had to put on a show for our fans, and then, now we got one more.
Thank you very much, Lou. Great performance tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
9 points for Lou Dort in this game tonight. Also, a couple of steals, a block, truly all over the place. But you heard him. This group had to stay together for this game. It was a full team effort. We talked about JDub. We talked about his 40-piece. Talked about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his double-double with 31 and 10. We also should talk about the Thunder's second unit. Guys like Alex Caruso, guys like Cason Wallace coming in off the bench, knocking down threes for Oklahoma City. Big-time buckets throughout this game.
4 of 7 from 3 for Wiggs, 3 of 4 from Cason.
Wiggs, yeah.
Both those guys, huge, massive punches that they were able to add, specifically on the offensive end. We know that what both those guys are capable of doing on the defensive end, specifically Cason. But to be able to step up and the confidence they had, keep in mind, Cason Wallace is a second-year player. A lot of people were doubting Cason.
It's hard to remember that.
After the 2 games in Indianapolis, a lot of people were kind of looking at him. I was listening to podcasts and taking in a lot of the media, and people were saying, wow, maybe the rotation needs to get trimmed down. This Thunder team, it's like people haven't paid attention to them enough to understand that this team is deep for a reason, because not only do they all believe in each other, they believe in themselves, and Coach Mark believes in them all.
Yeah.
And you can count on them. They may not play well any given night, but they are completely capable of turning it around, and that's what we saw from the bench tonight. And Alex Caruso, who had 20 in Game 4, only had 2 points in this one, 1 of 8 shooting, but he was magnificent all over the court, and we saw him do the kind of Caruso things that he's done all season long. The scoring a lot of times is absolute icing on the cake for AC, but he was a monster on the defensive end.
I mean, how about that possession right out here at top, diving on the floor to get the steal that led to an open opportunity for Oklahoma City on the other end of the floor. Those are the sort of impactful winning plays that Alex Caruso makes out there on the floor. And one more quick point about Cason Wallace. Going into the second quarter, he had 2 straight steals. In the first, I believe, 90 seconds of that first quarter, had 3 steals through the first 2 frames.
Yeah, again, I mean, that's just what we've seen from the Thunder. And I think there was times in this series where we've seen them in Game 1 at moments, and Game 2 where the Thunder played pretty well throughout the 48 minutes, where they kind of looked like themselves.
Yeah.
But the 2 games in Indiana, it was hard for them to get there. And again, I think that just speaks to the resilience and resolve of this group. We've talked about it all season long, how they are able to win different ways. They don't have to turn you over and score off turnovers. They don't have to make 3-pointers. They don't have to do it one specific way. That's what makes this team so brilliant and a winner of 68 games, is it doesn't have to be one specific thing, because they can dig deep and find a number of different ways to win. But tonight, this looked like the Thunder as
It
much
did.
as we have seen them look in this series.
Yeah, this is what we have seen from them all season long, really, turning teams over, moving the ball, and that was something that was really top of mind for Oklahoma City coming into this game, getting that blender going offensively. You mentioned it, the assist numbers. The Thunder surpassed their assist numbers from Game 4 in the first quarter of this game. Royce, what'd you see in terms of the ball movement from this group?
I think a lot of it was the tempo and the pace, just getting into actions quick and decisively. I
Yeah.
think that helped a lot. Obviously, the ball going in the basket helps a lot.
Well, that's gonna give you some
to
assists.
get that assist, you need you got to pass it, and then the guy's got to make the shot.
Yes.
And the Thunder didn't do a whole lot of that, shooting 3 of 17 from 3 in Game 4. But I think that a lot of it, Paris, you can oversimplify it that way, but some of it has to do with rhythm and where you're catching the ball and how you're catching it, how close the defender is to you, where it's at in the shot clock, all those things. And so it just felt like the Thunder got into a good rhythm, and that I think helped feed into the ball movement and the passing, and they just kind of played their advantage game to a large degree. You mentioned it, SGA. I mean, he had 31 in this one, was brilliant again. 10 assists. Again, that's what the Thunder had all of Game 4. SGA himself had 10. His floor game was beautiful. I loved the way that he was able to put his foot on the gas and then peel off of it as he him and Dub complemented each other. It was not at all a my turn, your turn. Those two guys played with each other all game, and it really amplified each other in a lot of ways.
Well, and I think to your point about the assists, a lot of the assists we saw tonight were lobs. I mean, it's really easy to get an assist if you're throwing it to a guy who all he's got to do is throw it through the rim. JDub was a recipient of several of those lobs. Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, all of those guys getting in on that action. But the key to all of it is a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with his gravity and with the attention that he gets offensively to be able to play with that force, but also kick things out to his teammates who can then go make plays themselves.
Yeah, a couple huge plays in that fourth quarter. One was the assist to Lou Dort in the corner. That was SGA driving and kicking. I think SGA had another one to Wiggins on the other corner where he drove downhill, collapsed the defense to him, kicked out to the corner. Again, the Thunder, if you think of those two games in Indiana where, the pickup points of the Pacers and the physicality, and they were really wearing down SGA specifically, and he wasn't really getting downhill and into the middle of the floor quite as successfully as he did in the first two games. That's, I think, a big adjustment in this game is where SGA was able to kind of create that separation, create those downhill attacks, and then collapse the Indiana defense. And even if it wasn't just an open shooter on the wing, now they are driving it back downhill. And we see that blender where the Thunder really can leverage the advantages against the defense.
I mean, you talk about getting downhill. Let's talk about Jalen Williams, JDub. 40 points in this game, and just we've seen the force that he's able to play with offensively, but it really felt like from the outset, the second and the third quarters especially, the double-digit scoring, his ability to just find good quality looks and just knock them down.
Fact check me here, Paris. He took 11 in Game 4, 11 free throws. That was a career high, right?
Sounds right.
And he took 12 in this game. So I think he improved on that.
I think he
played with more force.
Yes.
And just the way that he was able to influence the game at different moments and the way he attacked downhill specifically. And again, Dub scores at all three levels. He's so dangerous in the mid-range. He's obviously shoots the ball from 3 extremely well. But, man, he has played so well in the paint and at the rim in these last few games. And that has really made a difference for OKC.
So great from JDub in this game here tonight. We could talk about it for days, but we're going to take a break. We're going to send you over to the press room so we can hear from Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault at the podium.
Great force. I mean, that's the word. And we've used that word with him in his development. And when he's at his best, he's playing with that type of force. And that was an unbelievable performance by him just throughout the whole game. I mean, he really was on the gas the entire night, applied a ton of pressure, thought he made a lot of the right plays. And we're going to need a similar type of approach in Game 6 from him.
Joe on the right.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Mark, what did you think of the crowd tonight?
Yeah, unreal. I mean, they've been unreal forever, but they just put the wind at our back, and we have to give them a reason to. We have to play with the type of togetherness and competitiveness and spirit that they can relate to, which I thought we did tonight, but it's an unbelievable lift for us to be home. I'm sorry?
Can you hear each other out there? I mean, you're barking instructions, everything like that. Just what's that like?
Yeah, less than the regular season, but enough. We're getting the stuff in.
Hey, Mark. Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. You guys are trading punches there in the fourth quarter with them, and then you go up 8 after JDub hits a shot. Then you have the 4 steals in a row. Just walk me through those defensive possessions for your guys and how fitting it was to see the game really secured with your defense.
Yeah, I thought our defense tonight was really good. I thought our conversion off of our defense was hit or miss. We had some really good moments. We had some moments that I wish we could have back. The second chance points were a major problem. They did a great job of crashing to the glass. They beat us in the paint tonight. So it wasn't a perfect game at all, and there's a lot of room for growth. But I thought our improvement from Game 4 to Game 5 was critical, and we're going to need a similar type of approach. We got to take the humility to understand there's still a lot we can get better at if we want to go on the road, and win a game.
Nick in the middle.
Mark, you just mentioned improvement, the offensive process. What did you make of that? The 24 assists, 10 by Shai, and just the sheer way that you scored on that end.
Yeah, I thought we took a step forward there. That we took some steps forwards tonight. We took some steps backwards. That's natural. You're not going to be perfect in everything, but offensively, we definitely took some steps forward in terms of our approach. And defensively, I thought we were pretty good. I thought McConnell really changed the game in the third. Obviously, that was blatant. And so, we got to do a better job there. We got to do a better job on the glass. Late game defensive transition, they kept the pressure on us there. So we have room for growth, but I thought we took some steps forward on the other end.
Vince on the right.
Hey, Coach. Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. Coming into the season, the thought was that either Dub or Chet was going to have to step forward to be the second guy next to Shai to get you guys to this level. Was there anything before the season or during the season where you were sort of affirmed about JDub, or was it something that evolved through the playoffs that sort of leads up to tonight in this series?
Yeah, respectfully, we don't look at it like that in terms of, second guy, first guy, third guy, anything like that. We're just trying to help every guy grow and improve and tackle the next thing in front of them. And Dub's a third-year player. Chet's a third-year player. Cason Wallace, a second-year player. I mean, we're just trying to help those guys take steps forward wherever they are at a given moment. That's everybody on the roster. That's Caruso and Kenrich Williams, and that's all the way on down. And when you do that and when the guys commit to that, they improve. And I think tonight, a lot of the things that Dub got in the game tonight are things that we talked about early in the season. He wasn't having games like this in November, December. So his focus on the improvement, I think, led to him being the player he is right now. But again, these guys can be ready to go on the road. We got to be ready to go as well.
Fifth row on the left.
Right here. Mark Logan Murdoch of The Ringer. It seemed like Shai provided a calming influence down the stretch of this game. I think that he had a hockey assist to JDub with about, 8 minutes left, and then you took him out and he came back in and got another assist to Dort. What did you think of his game, and how did he kind of settle things when you guys were, when they were coming back, when Indiana was coming back?
Yeah, I thought, they had a really good offensive second half. And so defensively, there's some things we can learn from, like I mentioned, McConnell in the third, and then in the fourth even, I think they had 30 points or 33 points. And so we need to improve there. But our offense kind of paced us down the stretch, and he's such a big part of that because he's just in such command with the ball. And Dub was doing that tonight too, which is important against their pressure. So I thought those guys, again, played really well in the two-man game, controlled the clock, controlled the game down the stretch, and paced us ahead of them.
Fourth row on the right.
Mark Valencia King, Real Talk Sports. I talked to you last series about how both JDub and Shai used the phrase, be where your feet are. As their coach heading back into Indiana, how will you continue to hold tight to that phrase?
Yeah, I mean, we have to, as we have all year, we have to focus on improving. We're playing a game, and we have to get better in the areas that we have to improve. Indiana is going to do that. That's part of a series. That's how you pace ahead of a series, is you keep improving. And we got to go up there and focus on what we focus on, which is the next game, the next possession, and where we are. And the guys have done an amazing job of that. But these games are a challenge. We want to win these games. It can pull you into the future. It can pull you out into the past. We got to stay present and compete together in every possession of the game.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Mark, you mentioned, I think, the practice after game one that typically for third-year guys, delivering in the finals isn't on the curriculum.
Yep.
Why do you think Dub has been able to come through the way he has, especially over these last few games in this series?
I mean, these guys are really good players, obviously. But I go back to the improvement. You know, there's times earlier in the season where, you know, he had some ugly plays and ugly games, trying to establish the type of force that you saw tonight. And I complimented him back then, but, you know, he's trying to make an all-star team. He's a all-NBA player this season. You know, he's got an individual career that, you know, he's ambitious, but the way that you accomplish your goals and become the player you're going to be is by improving, you know, and I credit him because in the face of all those things, he just focused on improving. And now in the face of going up to Indiana, up 3-2, we have to focus on improving. That's got to be our mindset, and we have to discipline ourselves to do that.
Third row on the left.
Daniel Bell, BS. So, Mark, back to Joe's question about the crowd. It seems like when there are lulls in the game, the crowd starts making noises. I don't know if it's a correlation or if you feel like it's a correlation, but it seems like that kind of pushes you guys to the next level. Do you feel that, or do you feel like the players feel that?
I mean, you can ask them, but again, I think the crowd puts the wind at our back. I always marvel at how enthusiastic and positive they remain in the ebbs and flows of a game or of a season. You know, they're always trying to put the wind at our back. They're always trying to lift the team up. And I just think that's a great spirit that's on display in all these games. But they were amazing tonight, obviously.
Second row on your right.
Myron Patton, OKC Sports. Jalen, is this the kind of game you envision for him? I mean, not that he's going to get 40, but I know he's worked on trying to get to the free throw line. He had 12 free throws tonight, along with the field goals. And also, could you comment, you got the turnovers tonight, like in Game 1, but you also got the points to go with it, 32, unlike in Game 1.
Yeah, I thought our conversion tonight was better. I thought there were also some plays where we were a little hasty in transition, and we can clean that up. We have to, you know, attack with intelligence after our stops, and you know we can improve that a little bit. But yeah, Jalen, you know, again, I don't know if this is what I envisioned, but we're just trying to help guys grow, you know, from wherever they are at a given point in time, and you know he's committed to that process, and he's not the only one. I mean, he had the loudest game, but we've got a culture of that. You know, our guys do an amazing job of just staying present in their careers, staying present in the season, just attacking what's right in front of them.
Fourth row on the right.
Dean Blevins, News 9. Coach, I was wondering on potential challenges, there seemed to be a number of calls that could have been, that you might have thought about challenging. What was your thinking on it? Because it wasn't just one or two. It seemed like there were a number of them.
I mean, you're always just focused on trying to get it right. You know, you don't want to burn one on a play that could be marginal or can be interpreted in a certain way, and you know, try to keep it in your pocket unless it's one that you can really go get.
Fred, last question in the back right.
Hey, Mark. You guys, especially like Aaron Wiggins, seem to put a real emphasis on getting up shots, getting up threes in transition. Was that something that you felt like you guys had to emphasize was a better way to get threes in transition? And what did you think of the looks you guys were able to get from beyond the arc tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we shot 17 threes in Game 4, you know, and that's not really a recipe. You know, it's a byproduct of offense that's not where it needs to be. And so I thought we made some improvements tonight. I thought Wiggs and Case and Wallace specifically, especially in the first half, those guys gave us a major lift, came in aggressive. Wiggs only played 8 minutes in Game 4. I didn't think Case played great in Game 4. And they both came ready to go tonight and gave us a massive lift. And we're going to need that type of aggressiveness and confidence from everybody. And they gave it to us tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thanks.
Yeah, a whole lot of confidence from everybody that stepped onto the court for Oklahoma City tonight. And one thing that jumped out to me, Royce, I don't know about you, about what Coach Daigneault said post-game about Jalen Williams, JDub. He mentioned the force that we see that on the court here today in the NBA Finals. Well, that was a growth process from him throughout the course of this season, and growth with some ups and some downs. It wasn't always successful. There were some failures in there, but Coach Daigneault gave JDub so much credit for just sticking with it, and now it's to a point now where he's putting up 40 points in the NBA Finals.
It's such a great example, and look, I understand how we can all kind of live and die with games in November and December and January, and of course you want to win those, you want to perform well, but it also is a process, and the 82 games are kind of an experience to explore a lot of different things and to improve yourself 12 as the season goes along. And that's something that this team has talked about all season long. And sometimes you got to take steps back to take big steps forward later. And Dub is a great example of that, of what he accomplished as a player throughout this season. And again, I love the way that Coach Mark framed it about like, you know, Dub is an extremely ambitious player, and in a lot of ways, he could have just kind of rolled back the same exact player that he was a year ago and stepped into this season, but he really took on the challenge to improve himself for the betterment of the team, and that required him kind of playing outside his comfort zone in some ways and exploring some things in his game that maybe made him take some steps back in November, December, or January, and it all was to pay dividends on the biggest stage possible right now.
Always putting the team first. All of these guys doing that when they're out here on the court led to a big-time result here in Game 5 as the Thunder take the series lead 3-2. All right, we will be right back here on Thunder Playoff Postgame. We'll talk more about this epic Game 5 in Paycom Center.
My doctor is my hero.
My doctor makes me happy, makes me feel safe.
It helps me get strong.
We're just so grateful that we don't have to travel out of state.
Oklahoma Children's Hospital cares for my child like their own.
Gives us hope. And has our trust.
Last year, 35% of all auto accident deaths were rollovers. If you've been in a wreck, don't hesitate to call us. You need our number in your phone. This could be you.
When you call our firm, you're going to get one of us, not some paralegal or office manager.
Most lawyers, they take more money than their clients. Most of the time, a lot more.
We don't, and we guarantee it.
With OG&E Smart Hours, you control your energy and your savings. If you're a busy bee, go with Smart Hours Daily, where daily price alerts let you maximize savings. Or how about Smart Hours Fixed? Just set it and forget it. Night owl? Choose Smart Hours overnight. No matter which you choose, with Smart Hours, you control your energy and your savings. When you reduce your energy use between 2 and 7 p.m. this summer, you help the grid, the environment, and your wallet. But you have to sign up to save. So sign up now at oge.com/smarthours.
Welcome back inside of Paycom Center here for Thunder Playoff Postgame. We are here live inside of the building, courtside of this arena, recapping all the great action from Game 5. The Thunder defeat the Indiana Pacers 120-109, and they now have this series lead 3-2. Looking for a place to watch the finals? The game's always on at Thunder Watch Zones presented by Michelob Ultra. Find a watch zone near you at okcthunder.com/bar network. Welcome back courtside, everybody. You'll notice we got a new face joining us. That is Steve McGehee, News 9's own. Steve, you have covered a lot of Thunder games. You have been with this team, covering them for a long time. I just got to get your perspective on what you thought of this arena tonight and the atmosphere in this building.
It was electric, and Mark talked about that in the post-game presser. It was really loud. This time I did not listen to the game on the radio, so I was understanding, and now my ears are going to be ringing all day tomorrow. Extremely loud. It got quiet there in the third quarter. T.J. McConnell, I thought, was single-handedly going to put Indiana on top. It was difficult to watch there, but Pascal Siakam hits that shot. They're within 2. And then it was a dub 3, and then a Cason Wallace steal, his 4th in the game for a layup. So, and then it kind of turned from there. Indiana could not handle the Oklahoma City defensive pressure, and they kind of faltered down the stretch, just like they did in Game 4 up in Indiana.
Steve, that was a big kind of takeaway for me in this game is I feel like for the first time this series that for most of the game, almost all 48 minutes, the Thunder kind of looked like the Thunder with the way that they were able to play with pace, force, turn the Pacers over, score off the turnovers, and then also get downhill and spray the ball out to 3. What did you see from OKC?
Well, I thought they could have had a bigger lead there in the first half. They had a lot of misses underneath the basket, to keep Indiana kept trying to keep it close within double digits, but that lead could have been 20, 22, 23 had more of those shots gone in, some missed dunks, some missed bunnies, that right there. But Oklahoma City, they just turned it up a notch there in the fourth quarter. I don't know what Mark said on the bench or someone hit the go button, but, that Siakam shot. Then after that, it was all downhill for Indiana, and it's just Indiana now has lost 2 games in a row. That hasn't happened in 3 months. That's how hard it is to beat this Indiana Pacers team. Indiana is so well coached, on a roll right now. So this is not easy. It's not supposed to be easy in the NBA Finals, but Oklahoma City finds a way and wins at home. Now has won 2 games in a row, which seemed unthinkable when this series started. But we'll take it, and we'll see what happens in Indiana.
Certainly not supposed to be easy, but one guy who was making it look easy all night long. Let's talk about Jalen Williams and his 40-piece that he put up tonight. What was your perspective, Steve?
He made some money, on down the road. Some extra benefits, some endorsements as well. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Some extra endorsements. He played like a 5-time All-Star. He played like an MVP. He was the MVP in that game. He kept him in the game, and from start to finish, he didn't take his foot off the gas at all. And so he finished up with 40 points. Shai had 31. So your 2, primary players had 71 points. No, I don't think anyone else in the starting 5 cracked the double figures in scoring, but they had assists and rebounds and other things, block shots and steals. But those 2 combined, when they play like that, they are tough to beat.
Stephen, and as this series transitions to Indiana with the Thunder 1 game away, you think about the way that OKC played in this game, and you mentioned how some of the other starters didn't chip in, but the bench was huge with Wiggins and Kaysen. That hasn't really happened on the road yet in this series. How can the Thunder take some of the things that they did so well tonight, especially even the bench, translate that into Game 6?
They got to find a way to bring it with them tomorrow in Indiana. So it's not going to be easy up there. It's going to be extremely loud. Winning a closeout game on the road, Game 6, is never easy. They're going to have to play better than they did tonight for all 4 quarters. You can't have that third quarter lapse, but really their nice, comfortable lead in the first half enabled them to manage the storm there in the third quarter, and they got to bring that with them to Indiana. Dub, 40 points. He may need 45. Shai may need 35, because it's not going to be easy. But Indiana, all the pressure is on them now.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma City cannot let up and just assume you're going to come back here later this week and win Game 7.
Yeah, one of the hardest things to do in all of sports, close out a series on the road, and the Thunder have that challenge ahead of them. Just be sure, Steve McGehee, he'll be there with us in Indianapolis. All right, Steve, thanks so much for joining us. We'll send you over to the press room now. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is at the podium.
First question, 3rd row on the right.
Hi, Shai. Guilherme Sacco from ESPN Brazil. At the 8:30-minute mark in the 4th quarter, you guys were up 2. 5 minutes later, you were like up 15. You guys had 4 steals in a row. Everything was clicking. The crowd was amazing. How does it feel to experience these moments in the biggest stage of your career?
Feels good. We got to try to stay there for as long as we can. Obviously, it's a lot easier said than done playing against a really good basketball team, but we got to try to stay in that space and that momentum on both ends of the floor for longer periods of time if we want to kind of hoist this thing.
Nick in the middle.
Shai, what'd you make of the offensive flow that you guys had tonight? Assists on more than half your baskets and 120 points.
Yeah, it was for sure better. Ball moved a little bit more. We were more aggressive. We were in the paint, making decisions. Yeah, we were good.
Barry in the middle.
Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. 2 straight games, Dubs come up huge. How much is your job easier when he's playing like this? And for all I know, he's going to keep playing like this the rest of his career. How much does that make things easier on you?
A lot easier. Not only for myself, but for the rest of the guys. He can shoulder a load. I've said this before. He does so many things for us as a basketball team on both ends of the floor when he's the best version of himself. But yeah, like you said, he was great tonight. Makes the world of a difference when he's that good for sure.
Tim, 2nd row.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. What stood out to you most about Dub's performance tonight?
Yeah, he was like really gutsy tonight. He stepped into big plays. I feel like every time we needed a shot, he made it. He wasn't afraid. He was fearless tonight. And, whether they went in or didn't, and obviously tonight they went in more than they didn't, but he stepped into the plays with confidence for sure.
Dan over here, left.
Daniel Bell, BS. Yeah, the crowd was really good tonight, and at times when there were lulls, and they just got loud, it seemed like that pushed you guys. I don't know if that's a correlation, but do you feel like when those lows in the games happen and the crowd just randomly just starts getting loud, do you feel like that pushes you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. They are like a wind in our back. They when we're not playing well, they help us. When we're playing well, they keep us going. They've been great all year, and tonight was no different. We expect that from them. Yeah, they were great.
Vince on the right.
Shai, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. You know what it's like to be a young player to ascend kind of quickly and kind of almost out of nowhere. What is it like to see your teammate kind of go on the same path? Is this something that you saw early in the season, last year, even him as a rookie?
Yeah, absolutely. From the first, honestly, from when I saw him play at Summer League, I knew, he could be really good in this league. He can do so many things on the basketball court, and then he has, really good feel and really good work ethic. And when you have those two things, you're going to figure it out. You're going to get better, and you're going to just continue to mold your game the more you work and figure out your spots and figure out where you're supposed to be, where you're not supposed to be. And we're seeing that blossom right before our eyes.
Michael on the right.
Shai, Michael Grange, Sportsnet Toronto. You look at some of the plays you made down the stretch defensively, individually. Was that a focus of yours to kind of get a little bit more disruptive, or did you feel a little fresher maybe with having a little bit lighter minutes in the first half?
I'm not too sure. I was just out there trying to affect winning, trying to make a basketball play, trying to help the team win if I was in position, trying to be in position for the next rotation, next play defensively. Whatever comes with that comes with that.
Shai, you're the fourth player. I'm here.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. You're the fourth player with 15 or more games in playoffs that you score 30 or more points. The other ones are Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Hakeem Olajuwon. How does it feel for you? I know you're breaking records, but how does this one feel?
It's cool, I guess. It's just like the rest of the other ones. So it's a stat, but it's narrowed into 3 different specific details. It's cool, I guess, but focus on one thing, and that's winning one more game.
Joel on the front.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma. Shai, Mark was just in here talking about some of the stretches Dub had during the year to play with this level of force. He called it ugly stretches, ugly plays. What do you remember about those stretches and what they kind of did for him to be able to play with this level of force in the finals?
I honestly have no clue what coach is talking about. I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, he uses the season to get better, just like the rest of us. He played big tonight, and the way he attacks every game, all 82 of them, it's just like chinks in his armor, and he's ready for battle tonight.
Fifth row on the right.
Yes, Dean Blevins, News 9. Shai, you may go on and win a World Championship and look back at that stretch where you had a big lead, then it was shriveled, and you guys found a way to come back and overcome it and go on and win. What was the key to that happening? It may end up being a very, very key part of that game. We were very disruptive defensively. Kind of had them on their heels, was pressuring, and because of that had felt 3 or 4 steals in a row. And then we were able to get out and run, get easy baskets. But yeah, it always starts defensively for us.
Back left.
Logan Murdoch with The Ringer. Shai, it felt like you brought a calming influence to this game, specifically in the fourth quarter. I think you got a couple steals and you got a couple hockey assists. When you guys are up in the way that you guys are up and they start to come back, what do you try to bring to a game to not only protect the lead but close it out and get a win?
Every play is important. Every play matters a little bit more, obviously, later in the game. But you just try to go out there and make the right basketball play, play off your instincts. And on both ends of the floor, you just try to do what's best in that moment, that possession, and try to stay in the moment as much as possible, not worry about what's happening, what the swings are, just try to win that possession.
Right here in the front.
Michael Martin, Let's Talk Thunder. Shai, a big topic of discussion throughout this season was you going back and you talked about feeling like you could get your teammates more prepared for the playoffs. What's it been sort of like seeing Dub on a stage like this as a guy who you've really empowered throughout the years?
It's good. He's getting better. And I'm not surprised by his performance tonight. Like, the kid works super hard. He has the right intentions. He deserves this moment. Now, with that being said, we have one more game to win, and I know he's not satisfied by this performance, but yeah, he works hard, and he played well tonight because of that. It's no fluke.
Last two on the right side.
Valencia King, Real Talk Sports. Shai, I've talked to Caruso about how he's grown into his veteran voice, being a leader on this team. How vital has his voice been, not just heading back into Indiana, but throughout this whole playoff process?
Yeah, he's the only one on the team with a ring. He knows what it takes. He's been there before. He's won 16 games in a playoff run, so he knows what it takes. And when he speaks, everyone listens. And also, like, what he brings to the game, like, you have no choice but to listen. Like, a guy like that leads by example, not only leading with his voice, and does everything to make the team better selfishly. And I mean, selflessly, you have no choice but to listen to a guy like that when he speaks.
Kemal Bozkurt Haber from Turkey. Congratulations for win tonight. Do you have any message for your millions Turkish fans? They watch very early every finals game.
Thanks for the support. We love you guys.
All right.
A lot of support from all over the world for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, as always. And you love to see his demeanor after a massive game like this. He is so locked in recognizing that the job is not done. There is still more work to be had. And he knows that there's going to be a really tough challenge ahead of them going into Indianapolis now.
I mean, the biggest takeaway from watching Shai, like you said, Paris, is just how locked in he is. And he's not sitting there thinking about celebrating this Game 5. I'm sure everybody feels good about it. They know that they played well. They accomplished what they needed to do, which is get one closer to an NBA title. But Shai's not up there with a big grin across his face thinking about it. In some ways, I feel like we see Shai a little more like jolly after a loss sometimes, because I think that calm, composure, demeanor really kind of shows up a lot of times for him in that way. But he's locked in. He's thinking about what has to happen next, and I think that was really obvious from that.
Yeah, great stuff from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. A lot of perspective that we'll break down in a little bit. But first, we're going to send you back over to the podium because Cason Wallace is sitting down right next to Aaron Wiggins. Let's listen in.
All right, we'll take questions around the room. Barry, right here in the front, in the center.
Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. Cason, you guys had a stretch in the first quarter where you get a bunch of takeaways, and then you have an even better one in the fourth quarter where I think you had 4 straight steals. What is it that makes that sort of defensive momentum happen? Is it ratcheting up the pressure? Is it fatigue on the other team? Is it just the thrill of the moment? What creates defensive momentum like that?
Us being competitive and, trying to stack stops on defense. That's something that we preach every day, every game. Stack good possessions. And, once we see one, the next person want to get one. So it just trickle down to the next guy.
Mike up front, right?
Hey, guys. Michael Grange from Sportsnet in Toronto. This is for either or both of you. How much have you allowed yourselves to think about, winning a title, and what steps have you taken to avoid getting too focused on the outcome here?
Not too much thought into it yet. Obviously, we know the position we're in, and you can't take it for granted. So we have the right approach of, making sure we take care of business and get done what we have to first. But like I said, obviously we know the position we're in, but can't think about it. Got to take it, one possession at a time, one game at a time, and finish business like that.
Second row on the right.
Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio. This is really for both. Cason, you first. So I watched you yesterday, really working on your three-point game. You hadn't really shot it well the last couple of games. What's it feel like putting in all that work and for it to show up on a game like this?
Yeah, just staying confident, knowing that they're going to fall eventually. I was in a shooting slump, so getting that first 3 to go in really was good for me. And, I put in the work in every day, so I knew it was going to matter of time.
And Aaron, also, you had the big game a couple of games ago. What's it like in a game like this where you need something from the bench that you're able to come through in a moment like this in such a pivotal game?
Our guys just did a good job, getting everybody involved. I was able to get a couple looks going out there, still with the mindset to be aggressive, but, within our team offense. Shots fell, guys kept finding me. Obviously, same with Queso. And, that's huge for us. When we can get, looks, I think it kind of just allows for, our team to kind of settle in and get comfortable. So just did a good job, sharing the ball and getting good looks.
Left side here.
Justin Martinez to the Oklahoman for either of you guys. Mark just mentioned that he doesn't look at it in terms of first guy, second guy, third guy. He's focused on everybody on the team growing and developing. Just how much does that help, I guess, breathe confidence into everyone in the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been good. It allows everybody to kind of, have that certain sense of trust, from him and our coaching staff. He allows guys to kind of go out there, play free, and if you get going, it opens the game up for you as an individual and for our team. So, his trust and his confidence in the guys is huge for us.
Talk sports, Kaysen, and I'll get to you, Aaron, in a second. You mentioned being in a slump and getting out of that. There's a lot of young basketball players watching on the biggest stage right now. Can you elaborate on how you get yourself out of that slump and elaborate on how you've been able to maintain your confidence?
Just knowing that, it happens in basketball. You can't make every shot. You got to miss some. So just my teammates having confidence in me, knowing that I put the work in every day, good things are going to happen eventually.
Seen how much of a brotherhood this team has had all season long, but how would you describe what it's been like going to battle with these guys each and every night?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's just a fun experience every night. Being able to compete from day one in training camp against each other to, going out on the court and being able to play other teams. It's just, a fun experience. And 1 through 18, every single guy enjoys, being a part of this group. So nothing guys take for granted.
Fred?
Hey, Aaron. Pretty early when you come in, it seemed like you're trying to get up threes, especially in transition early in the clock. I know that's something, it's not the first time you've done that. You seem to do that a lot. Are you extra conscious of that, especially after a game where, like, you guys take 16 threes, and I know you come in trying to, you double that tonight, at least trying to take more. Is that a conscious decision, or is that just in the flow of the game you're getting them up?
Yeah, it's more flow of the game, just kind of natural, feel and looks. Playing in transition, you can get open looks if you're, moving and getting in the right spots and the ball's moving. But nothing, that I'm thinking about when I'm out there. Just kind of going out there, being aggressive to find shots. But I'm letting it come to me, just playing within the flow of the game.
Nick?
Kaysen, they cut it to 2 midway through the fourth. You have the massive offensive rebound that leads to a 3 for Dub, and then the pick 6 steal. What's happening for you all as a team and for you kind of individually in that moment? Obviously, the game pressure of them pulling to within 2 and for you to respond that way. What's going on inside you?
Just make a play. We need an energy play. Somebody got to make it. However that comes. So mine was offensive rebound, and the game gave me a steal. So just playing the game, and whatever instincts or whatever happens, just happens, and just go make a play.
Back left.
Logan Murdoch of the Ringer. Aaron, it seemed like during the fourth quarter, Shai made a couple plays down the stretch to kind of calm you guys down. When he comes in, when you guys are, when the Pacers, come back and kind of cut the lead down to 4 or 5, what does his presence do when he comes into the game?
That's what he's done all season for us. He's been, an elite closer. He's a guy that, just kind of continues to put our team in positions to, go out there and win games. And when we can kind of execute offensively, whether it's him or Dub, when those guys are able to kind of just get to their spots and we're able to execute, it obviously just kind of slows the other team down and gets us, in a much more comfortable position to close games out. So he's been huge all year with that, and we continue to just trust him, at any point in the game.
Last one, third row over here.
Jerry Ramsey, 107.7 The Franchise. Kaysen, you started this series starting. Now you're coming off the bench, and today you have a very, very good offensive game to go along with the defensive stuff. Can you talk about just your trust in Mark and belief in the process and get it going?
Yeah. He's going to put us in the best situation to win. We're winning games, and you know, I can't be selfish and, you know, if it's a better, you know, look or option for us, then let's go with that. But, you know, my job is to go out there and play as hard as I can, you know, every time I'm on the court, cheer on my teammates. So I'm going to just keep doing that.
Thanks, guys.
You know what you love to see? A podium game for Queso and Wiggs in the NBA Finals. Big time and truly deserving, those guys combining for 7 of 11 from 3 off the bench.
And again, I mean, this is what this Thunder team is all about. People may think that it, you know, gets dissolved down to just your main guys and that's who you got to trust and that sort of thing. This Thunder team is all about depth. It's all about options. And, you know, so much of it is there's one guy that you may not expect is about to play a huge role in Game 6 because this whole team is always ready to step up, and they keep themselves that way because they have belief in each other and they have especially belief in themselves. So that's what this Thunder team's all about. It should really come as no surprise to anybody that both these guys played exceptionally well in this huge game tonight.
I mean, let's take Aaron Wiggins as a microcosm of this. His role, not just in the postseason, but in the regular season as well. Very up and down. Yeah. He'll log starts. He'll log D&Ps in the same vein. And then he's always professional, always ready. And so when his number is called in a moment like this, you don't have to question it at all.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, just a huge performance for those guys. And again, that's what you train yourself for all year long, is to be ready for moments like this.
And they stepped up big time when this team needed it. A Game 5 win here inside of Paycom Center. All right, stick with us here on Thunder Playoff Postgame. When we come back, we'll have a player join us on the set. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, have you heard what's happening at Mathis Home? Get new lower prices all summer long with price drop alerts all over the store. They have all the latest looks at unbeatable prices. Like this big sofa with curved arms and 5 plush throw pillows. They dropped the price to just $5.99. That's an incredible value. And with their huge selection, you're sure to find the style that's just right for you. In stock with fast, free delivery. Look for price drop alert tags and save now at your furniture superstore, Mathis Home.
Leadership starts at home. That's why Ford is from America, for America. And with a lineup of our most popular Ford trucks and SUVs, we're for Oklahoma too. Including F-150, Bronco, and Expedition. That's our leadership lineup. Right now, get employee pricing. You pay what we pay. Ford, from America, for America. At your best in Oklahoma Ford dealers. Proud truck partner of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Riverwind is bringing the heat this June at OKC's favorite casino. So get the party started with the hottest jackpots in town.
Book a stay at our hotel for a weekend of fun with friends.
Win like an all-star on your go-to games.
Grab a bite and a bev at one of our fabulous eateries.
Go for gold with your wild card and play for your chance at $80,000 in our Sunshine Riches giveaway.
For the best summer yet and unforgettable good times, make it Riverwind.
Back inside of Paycom Center here for Thunder Playoff Postgame. The Thunder just wrapped up Game 5 of these NBA Finals, walking away with a big-time win, 120-109, and they have this series lead 3-2. And joining us on the set to help break down this big-time performance from the Thunder, how about Lou Dort here on the set with us? Lou, this is obviously such a big game for this group, but it felt like you guys were able to take control very early on in this one. How are you guys able to put together such a focused effort tonight?
I felt like we had to set the tone, honestly, especially being at home, you know, having the energy on our side. But, yeah, we just had to set the tone. You know, we came out aggressive, and we kept the lead pretty much the whole game.
Lou, what was kind of going through maybe the huddles and just the team mentality as Indiana cut that to 2? I'm sure some people were thinking, man, is this game 1 all over again? But you guys absolutely threw a haymaker at them to be able to respond the way that you did. What was the mentality like for the group in those moments?
We had to stay aggressive, honestly. I mean, they're a team that won't give up, and they play hard the whole game. So we knew that a run was going to come at some point, but you know, we just had to stay together and really stay aggressive.
Lou, you talk about the aggressiveness of this team. We saw it on the defensive end. You forced 20 turnovers in this one for Indiana, and you also felt like just forced them up against the shot clock a lot. What was the focus defensively in this one?
Be tough, honestly. I mean, you know, we got a lot of great defenders on our team, and then we know we can do a lot. So, you know, every time we take a lot of pride on that side of the floor, and then, you know, every time we got a chance to get a steal, we'll do it, and which we did a lot tonight.
Lou, I got to ask you, when you're teeing up a three, even one that's like massive in the NBA Finals, that could be the potential dagger, do you hear the crowd going "Lou" as you're shooting it?
Yeah, I hear the crowd every time. I'm actually really mad when I miss a three because they go "Lou" and then but it's cool, man. I appreciate the love from our fans. I mean, they really been here with us for this whole ride, and then we appreciate them so much.
Lou, I want to get your perspective on a guy like Jalen Williams and the night that he has tonight. Obviously, you've seen him his entirety of his career in the NBA. Shai said it was no surprise whatsoever for him to have a night like this. What's your perspective?
Same. I knew it was gonna happen at some point, but he worked so hard. He's real confident, and we have a lot of trust in him. So, I'm not surprised that he really got it going, and then we need him to be more aggressive like that. But it was a great game.
And then along with it, the support you guys got from Kaysen and Wiggs off the bench to, support at 31 from SGA and 40 from Dub. It just kind of speaks to this incredible depth this team has, right?
No, we got a lot of guys, and it's first, next man mentality every time. When you're on the court, you give your best, and I feel like everybody that played tonight, give their best shot.
Lou, the next step for you guys, the job's not done. Got one more opportunity. You got to go out to Indianapolis to get one more win. Just what's the mentality? What's the approach heading into Indy?
Yeah, stick to our plan and do it together. I mean, it's going to be the whole arena against us. So honestly, we just got to stay together, keep our composure, and then we will give our best shot.
And Lou, as you guys kind of do transition to that opportunity in front of you, what experiences can you take from maybe 3 and 4, especially 4, where you guys were able to get it done, but maybe trying to apply some of this tonight where you guys looked a lot more like yourselves?
Yeah. We try to have the same approach, honestly. Even though we're on the road, it's still us, and we still play the same way. So, really stay together, and then if we do that, we'll give our best chance.
You mentioned the crowd, but like this arena, it felt like it's the loudest that we've ever heard it. You've been here for 6 years. Does that track for you too?
Yeah, tonight was the loudest for sure. Yeah, I was on the court, and then my ear was hurting. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was the loudest for sure. Yeah.
I mean, and what it came, I think it was 4 straight steals that you guys have, and I think you had the last one of that. I know you guys aren't playing for steals, but that is when the crowd kind of absolutely popped off. But what is it about dialing up the pressure in those moments? Do you feel like everything together, the crowd noise, the intensity you guys play with kind of contributes to that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, at that point, we know that they're trying to make a run, so it's crucial that we got to get some stuff. And we got 4 in a row, and then just throughout the whole time, the crowd was engaged with us, which was amazing.
Lou Dort giving this crowd so much to cheer about in this game. Lou, thanks so much for joining us. Congrats on the win.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Thunder Playoff Postgame, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back breaking down more of this Game 5 action.
Let Love's be your partner on your summer RV trip. Fuel up, grab a bite to eat, and stay the night at one of our 90 RV stops. Reserve an RV spot overnight and turn on amenities from your phone. With over 420 dog parks, we've even got your furry family members covered. We're the perfect pit stop for your next road trip. Love's, the heart of the highway.
Last year, 35% of all auto accident deaths were rollovers. If you've been in a wreck, don't hesitate to call us. This is why you need our number in your phone. This could be you. When you call our firm, you're going to get one of us, not some paralegal or office manager.
Most lawyers, they take more money than their clients. Most of the time, a lot more.
We don't, and we guarantee it.
Experience the sweet, vibrant flavors of Mexico in every spoonful of Brahms' new fancy sundaes. Enjoy a cascade of fresh fruits on Brahms' Tarta de Fresa Crema Sundae. Indulge in creamy cinnamon-kissed ice cream with silky caramel on the Chongo's Zamorano Sundae. Dive into strawberry paradise with Brahms' Fresas con Crema Sundae and savor each caramel-filled bite of Brahms' Sopapilla Cheesecake Sundae. Authentic flavors, bold traditions, and irresistible sweetness in every scoop only at Brahms.
Some incredible Game 5 action here inside of Paycom Center. The Thunder defeating the Indiana Pacers for the second consecutive game. This win, 120-109. They now have the series lead 3-2. And guess what? This series now going to head out to Indianapolis. Game 6 is going to be on Thursday, and that'll tip off at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And then If necessary, Game 7 will be right here inside of Paycom Center, but that'll take place on Sunday at 7 p.m. So if necessary, that'll happen, but the Thunder has to go through Game 6 in Indy first. All right, let's get you over to the press room so you can hear from Chet Holmgren at the podium.
All right, we'll take questions around the room. First one in the front. Nick on the third row.
Chet, just in general, what'd you like about the offensive rhythm and flow that you guys had as a team tonight? 24 assists and 120 points.
I think we did a really good job of playing with pace, letting our defense start our offense, and then, it really helps, when Shai and Dub show up like they did and, really trust making the right play. And, they were huge for us tonight. And, I don't think there's any other way to put it.
With that on Dub that you just mentioned, you've walked alongside him on this path in the NBA for every day of the last 3 years, basically. On a personal level, what's it like for you to see him have such a masterful performance in this setting?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that you want to see succeed. Especially when you know him personally. You want to root for him. You want him to do good. Just because he shows up every single day, does the right things. He's a good guy off the court, treats everybody well. He's always respectful. And he works really hard. So you want to see it pay off for him. And, we saw it tonight. Not only tonight, we've seen it this, we don't get here without him playing as good as he's playing. So, we got to make sure he gets his credit, gets his flowers, and I'm sure he's not taking tonight and feeling accomplished. We still have a job to get done, and we still have to focus on that. And I'm sure that's where his mindset is.
Barry
Trammell, Tulsa World. Chet, last couple of games you haven't played as well offensively, I assume, as you'd like, but your rebounding's been big time. What's going on there? Is it something about the style of play? Just effort on your intensity on your part? What's with the uptick in rebounding?
I don't know if there's one single answer. I'd say a big part of it is they like to play with pace. They move around, fly around on both ends of the floor. So the paint is naturally more open to kind of crash. And then I'm also just trying to make an emphasis of, when the shots aren't falling, not letting that keep you from being an impactful player. There's two sides to every game. You have to score more than the other team, so there's two ways to win the game. Score more points or hold them to less points, and rebounding is a big part of both. You got to get the rebound so you can play offense. You got to get the rebound so you can be done with defense. So just trying to find whatever ways I can to help us win.
Logan standing on the right.
Logan Murdoch of the Ringer right here, Chet. You talked about giving Jalen his flowers, and Shai had a bit of the same sentiment when he was up here. It seems like you guys are really excited when your teammates do great, and a lot of it is made about you guys' chemistry. How was that chemistry helped you guys throughout this postseason, through the ups and the downs, and how did that help you guys out tonight as well?
I'd say the biggest thing is no matter what happens, good or bad, we're going to do it together. Tonight we saw a lot of good, especially from Dub. So we're all right there to cheer him on. And, we're not only excited for his individual success, but we're excited about the team's success together. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. But, even when there's bad moments, we're going through that together. We have each other's back. And it really kind of sets a tone, that you can really trust each other no matter what's going on.
Thank you. Jalen will be right up.
Great camaraderie from this group, and Chet Holmgren laid it out perfectly. Good or bad, this team's going to go through it together. They're going to be there for each other, and we've seen that throughout the entirety of the regular season and the postseason as well.
And I just love it. Everybody's always talked about it with this Thunder team, that really the true mantra of it is to compete together.
Yeah.
And so much of it is about how this team can amplify one another. Chet, of course, didn't maybe play as well offensively as he wanted to, but again, the rebounding at 3 block shots was a massive presence, and the Pacers struggling to score in the paint. So that's what everybody's doing, is they're competing together and finding ways to make a big impact on the game.
And that camaraderie really shows up when you see how they're all rooting for a guy like Jalen Williams, JDub, who put up 40 points in this game tonight. How about we go over to the press room so we can hear from the leading scorer here tonight, Jalen Williams, at the podium.
Joel, front right.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma. Dub, I just wondered, Mark was talking about stretches during the season where you were trying to establish this sort of force, and he said there were ugly games and ugly plays. What do you remember from those times and what they meant for you to have as much force as you play with tonight?
In order to get better and be good in these moments, and by no means am I perfect in these moments, but you're able to generate good habits when you have the right way of like going about it and you have a process. And I'm extremely fortunate that I have a coach and a staff and teammates that allow me to have those ugly plays during the year and figure out my game. And I think right now it's like paid off, to be honest. Just like I understand the level of like physicality that I have to do in order to be good. And can you guys hear me? Because all that's out there. Yeah, so like I said, I'm just extremely fortunate that I have a coach that allowed me to like go through that process of like figuring out what I'm good at and just like what I need to do in order to be successful. So that's kind of how I view that process.
Tim in the front.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. You're still a young guy. I mean, 40 in a finals game to go up 3-2. What sort of a statement do you think this type of performance makes for you?
My answer is going to suck because it's kind of going to negate your question, but it's something more that I'll like look back on later on than like worry about what kind of statement it makes. I think the only statement we have right now is we're up 3-2 and we still have to go earn another win. But it'll be cool to look back on later on, and hopefully somewhere down the line I'll have like a more fun answer for you.
Was there a point tonight where you felt like you had it cooking, like you felt like you could take control of this game?
I wouldn't say take control. I'm just out there being aggressive, and like I said, I have a staff and teammates that allow me to do that and like figure out my game and just figure out spots where I can try and be dynamic. And a lot of that is just me trying to pick my spots and do what I can in order to win the game. And not every game is going to be 40 or 25. It's just kind of like doing whatever it takes to win the game.
Joe front.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Dub, what did you think of the fans tonight and just the energy they gave you guys?
Typical night for us. Very loud, extremely loud. It feels like the court is shaking when we're here. They give us that boost we need. Felt like they were standing the whole entire game. They're into the game, which is rare for a crowd. I think Indies was that way too, so it's been two really cool atmospheres to be in, but it's just so loud here. It's like deafening. Like I remember I was trying to yell at coverage to Lou before the play get in, and we're like 2 feet away and we can't hear each other. So it's definitely a special thing to be a part of Oklahoma and just like the team and how well like the fans embrace us. Like for them to be outside the gate at 2-3 a.m. and greet us and be excited is super dope. It's special, and it's something that we're definitely playing for, and we always have in the back of our mind just like how lucky we are and I am to be here. So it's a dope atmosphere.
Logan standing on the right.
Logan Murdoch of The Ringer. Chet had talked about how important it was to give you your flowers, and Shai also had a similar sentiment when asked about your game. A lot of it has been made about this team chemistry and how important it is to you guys. How does that team chemistry empower you to be great, and how did that help out tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I'm just blessed to be in a situation where everybody wants everybody to succeed. It's such a rare thing. I think it's even more rare that we're playing like the Pacers, who just looking on the outside are kind of that way too. Like you see how close-knit they are. But yeah, I'm just in a really, really good situation. It's allowed me to grow as a player at a more rapid rate because I'm not worried about like what if I fail. I have guys that I know are going to pick me up when I fall short, and I try and do the same thing for them. So I think our team chemistry has got us here. It's something that's kept us strong, and Yeah, it's just a fortunate situation that I get to be in.
Second row on the right.
Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio. You shot well from the field, 14 of 25, but you got 12 free throws. And that's something I know the last couple of seasons you talked a lot about trying to get more free throws. Is that what that playing with force you think got you tonight?
I think the playing with force, yes, it puts pressure on officials to make a call. But at the same time, like halfway through the year, this was part of like me and Mark, like just talking about like what it's going to take. And just like while I was like figuring out my game, a lot of it was not looking for a foul and just being able to finish through contact. And from there, if you finish through contact and make the shot, then the foul, you don't really need the foul. And that's kind of like the way I've been like approaching it, is just being aggressive and getting in the rim and just playing through a lot of the contact. And then if it's a foul, not. If it is a foul, then great. But just the kind of force that I play with on a daily basis is, I think, what gets me to the line. And, you know, some nights I won't go to the line and I still got to finish.
And just like on the right. Athletic.
Jalen, there's only been 8 other players, 24 or younger, in the NBA Finals that have scored 40 points. I just wanted your reaction to that.
We won the game, so that was cool. I won't really have much of a reaction until we, handle business. But like I said, somewhere down the line, it'll be, you ask me the question again, and I'll have a better answer for you.
Right here in the front.
Michael Martin, Let's Talk Thunder. Dub over here. In Game 4, you guys only make 3 threes as a team. Tonight, you have 4 different guys, including yourself, who make 3 threes at least. How important was that spacing from guys like Wiggs, Kaysen, and Lou in terms of open up driving lanes for yourself and Shai?
We just have special players that are on the other end or on our team. So when they're hitting shots, it obviously opens up, another realm for us. And even when they don't hit shots, it's just about like them being aggressive, and they've done a good job all year, like playing that spot and being ready to make plays and stuff like that. So obviously, like the threes are nice, but just them being out there, being aggressive, playing on the catch, doing that sort of thing just opens up a lot for me and two. And like I said, it's guys that like Wiggs' role is very, very difficult to like sometimes not play to play and then come in and make shots and make big plays and be solid defense. Like there's a lot that goes into that. Queso's the same way, like to not shoot well and then come in and make big shots over and over again tonight. Like it's something that goes under the radar, but they're special players that are ready for the moment, and it just adds more and more space to what we're trying to do.
Third row on the right.
Joseph Pavone, clutch points. Jalen had an impressive night altogether, but that third quarter in particular, you were able to really go off the way you did. I'm wondering what that moment is like. Is it quiet in your head when you're going off like that? Is it you hyped up? Like what's that moment like when you're just cooking like that and able to put up points in a hurry the way you did in that third quarter?
Honestly, it feels so much different than a regular season game. Like I didn't even like really notice that I had it going. Like I'm just playing so hard that like everything else in the game seems like second to what's going on, and that's how it feels. So I wouldn't even say like I was in like a flow state. Like I was just kind of like absorbed in the game so much that I'm not really thinking about how many points I have or how many times I've scored. Like I'm just in.
Yeah, you heard JDub. 40 points for him tonight. That's really cool. That's great. But the most important thing, the Thunder got the win, and that's where his head was at the entirety of the night. And he was very, very cognizant to point out that job's not done for this group.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great example of what they were talking about earlier about Mark talking about the team, be where your feet are.
Yep.
Dub was basically saying, like, look, scoring 40 in the finals is awesome. But there's a time and a place for me to think about that later because there's a big thing right there on the horizon for this team, and you can feel really good about that 40-point game in Game 5 if you can go get one more, and that's what this team's focused on.
And that might come in Indy. The Thunder has an opportunity out in Indianapolis. Game 6 of this series, they head into Indy with a 3-2 win. But that wraps us up here inside of Paycom Center. A Game 5 for the ages for Oklahoma City inside of this Paycom Center crowd. Thank you so much for staying up late with us here tonight on Thunder Playoff Postgame. Once again, our final score, 120-109, with the series now 3-2 in OKC's favor. For Royce Young, I'm Paris Lawson. A reminder to join us for a complete breakdown and reaction following Game 6 on Thursday from Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Until then, good night from downtown OKC.